So right now we have an interesting bug that we probably don't even realize that we have inside of the game. So let's take a look real quick again at our door trigger and see what we're telling it to do. So this ability to read a blueprint, to look at a blueprint that already exists and kind of figure out what it's doing or how it works is going to be a very important skill that you're going to need to learn to have as a game designer. So here's our door trigger blueprint. And it says, look, when an actor begins to overlap the door trigger, we're going to tell our door, whatever door is stored in door to open, to call the open door function. And when they end the overlap, we're going to tell that door to open to close door. The issue is we don't know if the thing that is overlapping our door is the player or is maybe a bullet or an object that you can move around in the world. So if I were to go back into Unreal, right, there are these cubes that are located in our level that have some physics attached to them already. So if I were to move these cubes and I were to lift them up in the air, we'll see that when I press play, those cubes fall and physics applies to them. So if I were to take this cube and I were to move it up above my door trigger, and if this cube is set up to generate hit events, which if I go to my objects here, I'll be able to see where there's going to be a checkbox where we're going to generate overlap events, then this object will be able to trigger that overlap, right? So I might be able to press play here.
Open sesame.
And now it was my cube that opened the door. It wasn't my player like it was supposed to be. It was the cube that opened and closed the door. We may not want that. We may want to force it to be our player. And this door trigger is going to check to see if the object that entered the trigger is the player or not. Now, in many games that we build, this won't be an issue, and we won't really care as much as it seems. This is really just a great way for us to learn the idea of what is a class and what do we mean by looking at the class of objects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a branch, right? And this branch is going to say, look, if this value comes out to be true, then we're going to open the door. If the value turns out to be false, then we're not going to open the door, right? We're going to do nothing. So if I break my link and I instead create a branch, I can then say that if this branch condition is true, we open the door. If it's false, we're not going to do anything at all. And then to set this condition, what I can do is I can check to see if the other actor, the thing that overlapped, is the same class as our player class is. So I'm going to be able to come off this other actor and I'll be able to get the class of the object. And now it's going to send me what type of object it is. So this is one instance or one version of that class. So when an actor enters this overlap, it will send that actor into other actor. So if that one blue cube lands in that spot, it sends that blue cube in as the actor. If my player enters, it sends that player in as the actor. Then we get the class. If we remember, class means type. What type of object is it? And we're going to check if that type is equal to, so here's my equal operator. And we're going to check if that class is equal to one of the class we're looking for. So we're going to choose the class that we want to say, look, is this the same class? So whenever we overlap, we take the actor that overlapped, we get its class, we say, is that the same as? So if I were to look in this case, I could come down and I could choose actor. And now any actor would open that door. Or I can come down and I can choose, let's look, BP, right? Door. And now only our doors can open it, right? So only a door could enter it and open it. But what we want is we're going to want our third person character. So here is BP third person character. This is a blueprint that Unreal built for us when we created this project. And then we're going to come out with the true or false value into our branch. So now, when something overlaps our trigger, we're going to grab the class. We're going to say, what type of object is this? If it is equal to the third person character, the player character, then this condition will be true and will open the door. If it's not, the condition is false and we just do nothing. We pretend that nothing crossed that object. And we're going to do the same thing when we leave. So when we leave, I'm going to do a branch. And what I'm going to check is I'm going to grab the other actor. I'm going to get its class. I'm going to check if that class is equal to. And I'm going to choose the third person class. BP third person character. If it's true and it is the player that left, then we're going to close the door. So now what we've done is we've added this condition that looks at what type of object and only allows a certain type for it to work. So take a moment to take a look at this. So if I go back to the game and I play, my box did not open the door because it's not the right class type. If I move it out of the way and I enter, I do open the door because I am the right type.
Open sesame. Open sesame. Open sesame.
So think about in games when you might want to check the type of object and make sure that something happened. Much later in this class, when we get near the end, we're going to start looking at making puzzles, and this will come up a lot. So you may have a puzzle where the player needs to move a giant stone sphere into the right location, or you need to push a coffin into the right spot, or you need to make sure that a given object is in a certain location in order for the puzzle to be complete. If we're going to do that, we're going to look at the type of object and make sure that the right type of object is in that location in order for our puzzle to be successful. So this is just getting us used to that now by making sure that only the player can activate our doors. So the next thing we're going to do in our next lecture is we're going to take a look at changing our trigger. So instead of having a door trigger that opens every time you enter it, we're going to create a trigger that requires you to press a key on the keyboard. You're going to have to press E to open the door. That's what we're going to do in the next lesson. I'll see you there.